Yes, lads. Are we live? I think we're live, people. I've not been live for a while because YouTube's been striking me because I've been talking about conspiracy stuff, supposedly, such as I wonder. Ugh, I just won't bother. If you know, you know. I'm ill at the minute. Again, yeah, I was ill not long ago. Right, so I'm live on YouTube. Yeah, apparently I got one viewer. I haven't been on live for a while, but I do just want to talk. It's just going to be a genuine talk, like normal, how I normally do my content. I got quite up. It's always just updates and uh recently, like, yeah, I just feel like I've been growing so much where I just don't know what to say or who I am. Like, it's just I'm learning so much about, uh, not that I'm particularly like self-actualizing and fucking becoming a millionaire. I'm just learning a lot about, I don't know, like I always am. I'm always getting insights and growing and things. Right, but the main thing is I was watching some of my old content the other day. Well, actually, yesterday I was watching my video I made called Connor Murphy is Not Crazy. And I was speaking about
always am.
mine and Connor Murphy's, like, how we, like, lost the plot or something in the past through, like, psychedelic abuse and awakening, etc. If you know, if you're familiar with that. That's kind of like the niche of my channel at this point, but long story short, them fucking mushrooms there. Hello, I think I recognise you actually. I don't know your name. But yeah, I got the chat up here. Um, but yeah, basically there's these mushrooms, yeah, and like up in the Amazon or whatever the fuck, like these fucking crazy people just make these potions out of loads of plants and they drink them and then they fucking have visions and then they just basically do magic with these fucking basically neurotransmitters, all drugs, essentially. And I like my fucking story basically on YouTube. So I've been doing this now for like over 2 years. Uh, I feel like kind of I feel like a bit like a psychedelic veteran in a way. I haven't even done a lot of psychedelics, and I know it sounds egotistical, but it's not that. It's because I feel like I've been doing the YouTube and stuff for so long now. Like, recently I've slowed down a lot, uh, which is why I want to do this update. And I've slowed down a lot because of a lot of the things that I've been realizing, uh, insights I've been integrating. But like, yeah, I've just been doing a lot of like deep self-reflection, and also yeah, I've just been ill. But I've been free for a long time, um, just like chilling, and I've basically just been fucking perpetually smoking Cali pack marijuana, uh, strictly top shelf, and I've just been kind of hibernating for a while as it's got colder now, and I just feel like I'm growing a lot all the time. I've been here since Traumatic shouted. Thank you. See that I love that. So yeah, Mr. Traumatic shouted me out like once on his story, and people have followed me since then, and that's partly of what I want to speak about a bit. Is I was even messaging Traumatic, basically, and I've said this in other videos of mine. Like, I feel like it's my duty to like self-actualize, so to speak. So like, because I don't want to get inspired by Traumatic, and then go off the deep end. And the deep end is what I want to potentially call like a podcast or a series. I'm thinking of doing like a deep dive into metaphysics, in terms of teaching on YouTube, where like, because I feel like I have a lot now of well, this is the thing: is I have radical ideas and insights supposedly in spirituality, And I've had countless psychedelic mystical experiences after being inspired by traumatic and things. Um, and I do feel that I have so many insights to bring, but every now and then, um, and it tends to be, I don't know if it's to do with the seasons, but I think, they had that seasonal affective disorder or whatever, but it's whatever you want to label it, basically. What it really is people don't feel as good when the sun isn't out, because the sun is just life force. And I love the fucking sun. Some people don't. Some people are like vampires, and I'll never understand that. But yeah. Anyway, but every now and then I kind of, I start to almost doubt the the whole, the whole psychedelic world, because, like, recently, yeah, I've had a transformation in how I understand consciousness and reality. Partly, I think, due to, like, I had 2 LSD trips, like 2 days in a row, and I had these very timeless experiences where, like, I felt like I've been reincarnated for forever, and that I'm actually going through some, like, infinite school, and basically what it is spirituality. Let me break it down. Let me try and speak a bit speedier, and I'll try and keep it a bit entertaining. But here's how it is when you really go off the deep end into actual spiritual awakening. Obviously, you in the chat, Zatla, I don't know how to pronounce your fucking name. Sorry, Zlata. Um, traumatic. All right, and obviously there's many dimensions to what he speaks on. Like, he talks about, like, conspiracy theories, and then he talks about psychedelics, and so metaphysics is basically the fundament, like what is, like, the biggest picture perspective on what reality is doing, in terms of, like, is reality a dream? Is reality material? Reincarnation? Are there gods, as in entities, or are you God? Are you dreaming as God? Why is consciousness in the state that it is in right now? Why is it not in a different state? So metaphysics is basically, meta means big picture, like Super Mario pointed at the pixels, then that would be Mario going meta, because he's breaking the fourth wall. So to go meta on physics is to basically, like, what is physics in the biggest picture definition? It's like, well, really, it's fucking the works, it's, or the Tao, they call it, or the Tao Te Ching, the flow, the universe, whatever. So that's metaphysics, I guess. And the occult, yeah, partly, I guess. I don't know. Like, the occult, I think of that as, like, the Kabbalion. It's like an interesting book which is on metaphysics, yeah. And the Kabbalion states, like, many kind of almost like the noble truths in Buddhism. The Kabbalion states that reality is one mind, and other truths, supposedly. But yeah, so, like, traumatic. So here's how it is, yeah, with what I've been dealing with anyway, in terms of awakening. If you're interested in spiritual awakening, if you know Mr. Traumatic, so this rapper that we're on about, he has many dimensions to what he kind of speaks on and teaches and preaches, in a sense, in his music. And he can talk out against the government, and he has political awakenings, but then there's also the spiritual side to it, where he's talking about being trapped in an infinite time loop. And he's got this one lyric, he's like, one time I meditated in a spiral realm and got trapped for hours. And there's shit like this. And like so I got inspired by traumatic essentially, and like I do have this theory about how like ideas are like it's called a cognito hazard. Long story short, I haven't really voiced this properly, but cognito hazard is the definition of what I'm on about. So traumatic has some ideas about awakening, and then I hear traumatic, and then I get infected, so to speak, with these ideas. Because a lot of culture sees these ideas as dangerous and like stupid and delusional. Um, so traumatic inspires me, and then I take the mushrooms, and if you want to take it from the NPC stance, it's like, and then I have a bad trip, and I actually feel like I made a video about my friend who he actually took his life, he killed himself, um, while he was on a magic mushroom experience, and I feel like like not like it's like he got inspiration almost because like we were friends for years, and I went to psychedelics, and he'd already been a bit interested in them, but I feel like I don't know because I can't recall exactly, but like to an extent, I potentially influenced him to go down the psychedelic path, just like traumatic influenced me to go down the psychedelic path, and then he had an awakening supposedly, or what I don't know exactly. He didn't voice it properly, but I can imagine because of the stuff that he spoke about often around that time sounded a lot like me, and I sounded a lot like traumatic. So it's like you could almost like people you could give someone an idea, and actually I've heard actualize.org or Leo Gura speak on this as well. Uh, but yeah, that aside, that was just a fucking side tangent. But basically, I follow traumatic and I go down this fucking thing, and I find loads of different teachers. And the way it is basically when I was younger, before I woke up, how they say it, uh, or so I'm just going about. Obviously, I'm a human being. I'm on Earth, and I'm a young lad. I'm going to school, and I'm fucking about at school, whatever. I'm making friends. I'm playing some video games and that. And then like um it's weird how you just like appear and you just gradually like go forward, and then I don't know, you just find yourself here, and it's like you didn't, it feels like you didn't choose it. Like it just kind of like spontaneously happens or happens of itself, I guess. But Uh, I was going through the world as an ego, as a human. Everything's like, mundane as it is or whatever. It's not too bad. Hold on. I feel like the best way to make sure you resonate with whatever ideas you receive is to try prove them wrong. Yeah, this is what I'm about to speak about. So, like, look, at the start, I'm an ego, like everyone knows the game to be for the most part. Everyone's a human being, of course. This is me. And, and then I just like I went to psychedelics and weed before that. To be fair, before that I did have a few of like I wouldn't do them again. It was very brief, only for like a summer or a winter or something. I'd done a few like sessions with my mates, like when we were younger, like 16-year-olds, do like some fucking man-made chemical drug that's like a pill, MDMA supposedly, but no one ever tests it. I know it's outlandish and fucking stupid. A lot of the youth do it though. It's just how it is in the culture. Like you just grow up and your mates are doing it, and everyone wants you to do it and shit. And I didn't want to do it for ages because I knew traumatic, but I thought, oh, fuck it, and I did it a few times, and it was good to an extent. But those drug experiences change your like the way that I perceived music, like that was the main thing I recall. It's like I listened to some music while I was on like these pills when I was really young, like with my fucking around with my mates, and all my mates had a horrible health, No one knew about that diet. No one was awake around. No one is awake around here. This was before my awakening, like I say. Still, I'm just fucking around. But these drugs, like, it basically, what happened in some form, and even as we're talking about traumatic, like, he has a lyric. He speaks on psychosis numerous times. He has a song called Lost in Psychosis. He's got lyrics where he kind of jokes about him having psychosis. Um, and that's kind of like a common theme in the spirituality is like, and that's a lot of what I've based my channel around is it psychosis or is it spiritual awakening? And then you can see my video of Conor Murphy, but that video, I'm a completely different person because this is the nature of spiritual awakening. And I can perceive that video that I made on Conor Murphy from now, and I seem like I have, like I've evolved and I changed so much where it's like, I don't know what to call that inherently, but spirituality can feel and seem a lot like psychosis. But, right. Uh, Fucking yeah. So basically, like these substances, like the pills, the weed. I was smoking a lot of tobacco as well at the time. I try to be healthy these days. I'm quite health conscious. Not that I always execute on that 100% every time, but I'm trying. And recently, I've been pretty good with my diet, to be honest. Not that that's the only dimension to health, but uh, that was another thing, of course. Yeah, like I say, everyone had horrible health. But look, the weed and the fucking pills and the mushrooms and basically induced some form of psychosis. But really, in my experience, like I don't really agree with these labels. Because like the Western world is very naive and like different cultures like shamanic cultures and traditions perceive mental illness and mental health in different ways. Different cultures have different ideas about uh, different fucking mental, like basically what's a curse in one culture can be perceived as a gift in another. You're not inherently broken. It depends on your culture and their ideas, really. Uh, but yeah, like the psychedelic thing is just a rabbit hole, man. Because like you're just going about your life as a human, and then you just hear about like this thing. Oh yeah, these mushrooms rewire your brain, cures depression. The studies are amazing. Oh, look at these cultures. They've been doing it since the beginning of time. And then, like, all these celebrities are jumping on it and shit. And, like, there's a big resurgence in it. And, like, when you look into the whole, like, the way that everyone's speaking about these things, for the most part, it's like, holy shit, this is the holy grail, isn't it? And then you start doing them, and you have fucking, like, the literally the deepest experiences of your life. Like, and this is reported commonly, not just with me, because like I know I'm like a spiritual extremist, psychedelic extremist, but a lot of people, um, they say it's like literally like next to or above like having, like giving birth and things like that. Like psychedelics are the most profound experiences out there, and like there's nothing stronger than psychedelics other than like a fucking axe or a gun, or a black hole. Uh, and you learn so much and your intuition's going with it and like it just seems like the only way out. And like yeah, so you just you start taking these mushrooms and stuff, you see beauty beyond compare, you have emotional therapeutic releases, you fucking astral travel and relive memories, and you're not trying to play into it, it's literally just happening to you. You was ignorant before, but you just start taking mushrooms, and the more you take them, the more you fucking lucid dream and astral travel, and the more you do it, the more you discover like fucking like, that is the truth about it, though. I can't lie. Like, regardless of my history of, or whether or not people perceive me as awake or not, or having mental illness or not, and this whole topic, I've been talking about it for a long time. Um, but it's basically a lot of what it is. Really, is most people in this culture are in a materialist paradigm where, like, Quirks Kazar on YouTube, for example, if you're familiar with them, even Exerbia, they just assume and notice they all miss out psychedelics, and I tend to not really associate with a lot of public intellectuals or YouTube channels, like, who try, like, for example, like the Daily Stoic. Like, yeah, the Daily Stoic is sick, and Hamza is sick, and, you know, Better Ideas is sick, and all that thing. But none of them really speak about psychedelics, like, much at all. So, that means to me that they don't actually know fucking anything, basically. Like, it seems like they've literally just missed the whole thing. Like, the Daily Stoic, I'm like, I get it, and it is wise, but it's like, psychedelics will blow the Daily Stoic out of the fucking water, bruv. You don't need a Daily Stoic. Alright, maybe you do. But, it's for example, there was this video on YouTube, and it was, like, 50 years of research to see if there's life after death. And there's, like, a whole room of, like, people in suits at desks with fucking laptops and microphones and shit. And it's like an hour-long documentary of, like, researching, is there life after death? You don't need to research anything. You just need to take fucking mushrooms, and you'll just download the truth. Or remember the truth. Like, that's what I'm on about. It's like Andrew Huberman. I love Andrew Huberman, and I know I'm being naive the way I'm speaking. Andrew Huberman is like a scientist, and, like, the thing is, Hamza and Andrew Huberman, they do speak on. Hello, G Block. It's been a minute. Hamza and Andrew Huberman, they do speak on psychedelics, but what everyone gets wrong is they think that. But this is the thing, is I'm on the fence, basically. It's like, I had to decide a few weeks ago that I can't be a materialist, but, like, I'm still nearly on the fence, because reality is such a fucking grand illusion, and it's like you live in the center of an infinite paradox. But it's like, yeah, like Andrew Huberman, for example, like they like, he has a video actually. Yeah, it's like, how psychedelics create hallucinations, how they change the visual field. And he'll sit there for 15 minutes and, alright, hello everyone, today I'm going to tell you how psychedelics create visual hallucinations. So, inside the fucking mushroom basically is psilocin, and when you eat the fucking mushrooms, the psilocin is converted to psilocybin. And then the psilocybin fucking goes into the bloodstream, or whatever it does, and it goes into the brain. And the psilocybin fucking binds to the, or does something to the serotonin 2A receptor. And when it does that, yeah, it fucking blocks this neuropathway, you know, and it fucking interconnects every neuropathway in the history of the universe. And when this happens in your brain, when your brain receives the psilocybin, then the fucking eye retinas fucking will fucking cause a release of this chemical, and it will fucking, and then due to the physical nature of the structure of the eyeball, therefore you will see the patterns. There you go. And that is exactly what science does. It demystifies everything. That doesn't tell you fuck all about anything. That's not what happens. That is just a fucking explanation. Hello, how's it going? I don't mean to drag on. I prefer shrooms, to be honest. I don't know, I do like acid. but it's too easy in a way. I don't know. Sometimes it can be uncomfortable, but it's not. I'm not sure. Acid is more nuanced. No, that's not true. Shrooms are more holistic, organic, big picture, and physical, and twisted and hallucinatory. Acid is just like stillness. It's like everything's digital and it just starts glitching. That's what acid feels like. But shrooms is like I have a vision that I am a tree and I feel like I'm a tree blowing in the wind. That's what shrooms will do. But acid is like it's almost stimulating and to be honest, acid makes me feel pretty fucking insane. I can't lie. Mushrooms also do that, of course, and they can do that very much. But it feels still kind of feels more at home. But LSD feels like my brain is soaked in a very strange liquid that is changing how fast the electrons move. That's probably not what's happening. But it feels like that, like, yeah, it feels like there's like a liquid in my whole, like, but not really. It's almost like I'd cease to be there. Like, it's weird. It's like all there is like the physical tension, and then like the self is just not there when you look. But it depends. Like, it could be very 0 point. But I've had mystical experience on LSD. I've had fucking, especially in a walk in nature a few years ago. LSD, I haven't figured out LSD yet. I've had quite a few experiences, but it's not black and white. Mushrooms, I intuit what mushrooms are capable of, even though they blow my mind every time. But LSD is still kind of confusing to me, because it is kind of physically, like, you can feel the kind of synthetic nature of it often. I don't know if that's any good. But look, you're an ego going through the world, and then you hear this rapper talk about these magical plants that will make you fucking Super Saiyan. So you go to these magical plants, and the magical plants literally make you see some magical shit. So like, holy fucking shit, this is the most intense experience I've ever had. This is obviously interesting, as they don't seem physically dangerous. They rewire your brain. Everyone's bigging them up. There's all this hype around it, etc., etc. If you've kind of seen the world. All right, keep doing mushrooms. Fucking keep learning. My intuition seems to be going with it. It seems to be the only way forward. I don't know any better, or I didn't. Going with that thing, and then before I know it, I'm fucking. Before finding psychedelics, I was just fucking. I was just Baron. That's my name, and I'm just going about my day, fucking going about my day. And then after psychedelics, I'm like constant. I feel like reality is fundamentally illusory these days. I'm gonna try and rant about how I fucking feel about the nature of reality these days, man. Because look, I don't know if it's like, because obviously I'm talking about the absolute today. This is what I've been speaking about mainly. I'm talking about absolutes, spirituality. But then the grounded plane is personal development. But it's like, look, the one thing that personal development fucking forgets is that everything is timeless, fucking infinity, right? Right. I'm not saying personal development is not useful, and I've been slacking on the personal development. I know I've been fucking lazy. I'm a dopamine addict. That's not a substance that you intake, by the way. That's, dopamine. I've had a few addictions recently: weed, caffeine. Uh, I've been drinking cacao recently, by the way. I met this spiritual yoga teacher called Mama Cacao, and that is the bollocks. That has been healing me full blast. But look, I don't remember exactly what I was saying, but fucking look. Basically, yeah. Are you still smoking? Yeah, I've been smoking today. I've been on like a Cali pack a day, literally, like £40 a day, basically, on weed. It's mad. That's been for like basically like nearly a full year at this point. I plan to quit like in a second, basically now. To be fair, like I don't regret it in a lot of ways. Like it's healed me. I do see weed like as a. But this is the thing is that I've been going through it, man. So I've been a lot of weed, a lot of mushrooms, a lot of acid, etc. A lot of breath work, a lot of grounding, a lot of sunlight, a lot of awakening. But it's so going from just being a normal human and then what is the other end of the spectrum after awakening, etc. It is how I find myself these days in my existential predicament. At least is it's like basically like I could do the personal development and stuff, and I want to do it. Don't get me wrong. I want to have a fulfilling life, and but like still. And Traumatic even says in one of his tunes, he says, "There's nothing in this human existence that can ever satisfy my appetite." And like, that's not entirely true. I do love this life. I've had an amazing time. But it's like, I am literally kind of like, I'm waiting for the fifth dimension. I can't fucking lie. What do I mean by that? It's like, bro, I've been into like the astral realms, full blast. And like, yeah, it's like, when I fucking am just going about earthly things, like, for example, if I'm ever at work or something, like, and everyone needs to work. Well, like the way I see it these days is reality is pretending to have to do that, in the sense of like it being a dream in a sense, where it's like reality is like I swear down I've been directly conscious of like infinite power. So like when everyone is like just getting on with like it's like what the fuck is even happening? That's the main thing is like yeah, I understand like don't eat the junk food or your body will feel like shit and then you'll feel like shit. It's like yeah, but that's all happening in the third dimension. And fair enough, let's master the third dimension. And I always wanted to call my channel something. I was looking at a name earlier, like Most High Devotion or something of that nature. Like, don't get me wrong, positivity is like, I want to have everything ascend to the Most High, so to speak, regardless if it's in the third dimension or the fifth dimension. But what I'm saying is like I know, like it's like it's almost like a hang up of some form. Now that I speak of it, because it's like I know that there. It's basically like that. I'm pretty confident that there does not have to be any limits inherently with reality. Like as in the reason why things are the way they are now is far greater than what we can comprehend at the moment. Because like it's just due to my psychedelic experiences mostly. It's like I've had psychedelic breakthroughs where it's like right, it hasn't happened. I've got to be clear, and this is what I want people to be. I want people to be clear on how their psychedelic and mystical experiences are in general. Because people just say casually, "Oh yeah, there was a flying orb in front of me." I'm like, was there really a flying orb? Because if I really saw that, I've had absolutely outlandish experiences. I'll be trapped in hell, but it's always mental in a sense. It's always cognitive. I rarely will hallucinate a actual physical fucking alien right stood in front of me. But I will be convinced that the sun gods are coming in 6 months or something like that. But it can almost feel and seem very much like it's physical and external, and like I can have a conversation with someone and be convinced that they're from a different alliance from fucking that they're like a reptilian, and I can almost perceive that they are physically a reptilian, and I could be convinced while raving on a fucking outrageous dose of mushrooms that I am physically perceiving that to be the case. So if I ever saw like I'm waiting to take a psychedelic, and it's been like it teases you when you're in God consciousness, like with like a UFO or something. Like if you have like a psychedelic awakening, the chances of you seeing a UFO the same night are much higher. But you know that it's like a game that reality is playing with itself if you are self-realized. And that's one of the, I think that's the main thing that fucking threw me off recently. When I slowed down with my uploads, to be fair, I probably should have kept up with them in a sense. If I was so convinced. But basically what happened is solipsism in a sense. Is like I had a psychedelic experience on 12 grams of Liberty Cap magic mushrooms. Right? Which is fucking an outlandish dose. And I had an experience where basically, yeah, of self-realization where all is in one mind, the world is my body, I am the world, I am everything, I am consciousness, I'm infinite consciousness, I'm timelessness, I'm present moment, I am the true self. I am God, I am. Finally. That's all I kept saying the whole time is finally, finally. Well, I'm literally on the brink of like fucking reincarnation. That's what it was fucking like. And it basically, there was no other. That's what happened. Is I asked, what is other? And like I was really conscious, very conscious in awakened state, or so it seems, but like I speak of it like so off the tongue, but I do have a lot of doubt in me, a lot like in a way somewhere where like part of me is still like, is it just hallucinations in the brain, did I just take a drug? But it's like that, because the actual experience is so much deeper than that. I wish it was that simple. So you become, before you know it, you're entirely convinced of this like whole entire like fucking wheel of samsara, like fucking reincarnation and fucking, and it's huge, and it recontextualizes your whole life, and it will change your behavior. You're inherently interested in the nature of your experience and why you're here and what is really happening. That's what I want to know, is what is fucking happening. In a sense, I messaged Ryan Sanders the other day and I said, it's like, at the end of the day, it's like, oh my God's got my back, or he ain't. And that's like, can I really just fucking die in a whim on a car crash? Like, is it really just physical fucking billiard board fucking blind matter? Or is it divine timing? Well, I've had divine timing experiences of synchronicity, but then there's also a lot playing against that, and it's like reality is pulling me out of the illusion, but then also reality is pulling me into the illusion at the same time, where I can have awakenings of no self and realize that all is dream, and I can have a lucid dream. For example, I had a flashlight, and I turned the flashlight on with my hand, and I was in God consciousness awakened state on magic mushrooms, and then the torch turned off by itself. But in that state, I was conscious that I was actually turning the torch off without touching it with my hand. Also, I thought. So, am I just a psychopath, or am I actually perceiving like a deeper level of reality? Well, the whole community is backing this, like it's not just me. But at the same time, to be fair, I do know that it's true. You can't deny it. You can't deny it. And that's why I want to teach some of this stuff. Like, I feel like I need to stop being slow, and I need to get on and teach fucking loads of deep metaphysical spiritual stuff, because I feel like I actually know. I like, in them states it's undeniable, mate. It's literally, basically, what happens, the deepest states of self-realization and awakening and God realization is you realize that you are dreaming now. And then you can become lucid within the dream. Therefore, you can dream anything you want. And that's how it goes. The more conscious you become of the dream nature of reality, the more you can dream what you please, because that's how lucid dreams work, right? That we've heard that from the get-go. Sorry, gamers. Yeah, I got a bit of a cold, or whatever it is. It's just poison from Babylon, really. But yeah, look, I don't know. All I know is that when I look at my past content, I constantly change. Even the way I speak, like it's like I'm literally a different person all the time. Thank you for tuning in the whole time, people. I really appreciate that. We've got 2 people watching right now. I think I really want to try and pursue the conscious music a lot more, but I know I got a gift with the speaking. Do you believe that near-death / actual death experiences are actually DMT trips? That's very interesting. But again, do you see how that almost assumes that DMT enters the body or is produced in the body or activated in the body, and then it goes into your brain and then it causes hallucinations or mind altering perception? So like, I know what you mean. It's like you can have like, yeah, near death experience and get like shocked with adrenaline, etc., and like, or you know, actually physically nearly die and get deeply injured, and then it will like, and then you can like fucking blast off into like infinity. But is that not assuming that there's like a physical background to the experience? The subjective experience is like you're assuming that you are a human body. That then the brain has DMT that then causes a psychedelic experience due to the body going through some like near-death experience, which is what happens on one level. But do you reckon that actually happens to the perception, like who that happens to? So the person who has the near-death experience, because when you're in the psychedelic state, there's not really much of a concept of I took a psychedelic. And I know it sounds stupid, but it's like things of salvia and datura will certainly do that. Very dangerous psychedelics, potentially. Datura, definitely. So I know what you mean. Like to answer your question without trying to be a fucking smartass about it. Yeah, I guess like the way that I've thought of it for a while is you can understand a lot about psychedelics and the nature of reality from a materialist paradigm, and you can do that by if the brain is taking in data and then converting it into colors and stuff. So it's material. Let's assume that we are bacteria on a rock floating through space, zooming through space in a random direction, and we're just on a fucking rock, and who knows, an asteroid might fucking crash into us in a minute, because we're literally just fucking some fucking dust, and our bodies are just fucking stardust, and this rock fucking got some water on it, and then some mold happened, and then some fucking slime fucking grew some mold, and then it fucking eventually it turned into a human over a very long time. And now we're just in a random place, flying through this random space in this physical world, and then my fucking physical brain fucking, then there's plants and shit about, and then my brain, some of this goo comes into such a structure that it forms a brain, and now I can perceive an external world, and here I am finally, after millions of years of evolution. Here I am on planet Earth, and fuck knows, maybe we're gonna fly into a fucking a sun or a star or an asteroid in a minute, and then the bacteria will die, and then consciousness will end, and then all of those individual beings with their individual consciousness on this rock, all of those will die, and then their brains obviously will break down, and their body will break down, and their eyes will die, and then they can't obviously perceive the world anymore, because how can you perceive the world without ears and eyes? I'm being ironic. I hope you remember that at the beginning. Well, that's what they say. There's a clip of Brian Cox saying, "What more do you want? Our bodies are assembled from long dead stars and over billions of years, and then we're forming these temporary structures that can perceive, and then eventually these structures will break down. What more do you want?" That is the fucking stupidest explanation. Like, what the fuck? That doesn't tell me anything. And Kurzgesagt fucking says that they're inspiring people. You're not fucking inspiring people. You're a fucking you're a fucking religious fundamentalist. You're a fucking materialist dogma. Like, is that it? Is it? So when I was saying earlier that there's all these fucking researchers trying to research if there's life after death, everyone, the only reason why any of this is happening is because nobody's eating these plants that hyperconnect your brain, and then everything you need to know is already in your mind. That is literally it. I'm fucking telling you. Psychedelics are the cutting edge of everything in the history of the world. I'm literally telling you. Here's a formula of transformation. I'm not fucking joking. Anybody in the fucking world, if you're fed up with your situation, I'm not telling you that you have to do this, but I'm not even advising that you do this, because psychedelics are not for everybody, but take this how you want. If you have some fucking a decent space, a decent house, like fucking a good setting, etc., and you have a fucking very large batch of magic mushrooms, a lot of time, and good food, that is literally like basically all you fucking need. Not really inherently, like also potentially DMT, but that's very dangerous to say in a lot of ways, because it is a long journey, and you might lose the plot, and it isn't inherently the best thing to do, and psychedelics are dangerous in some ways. But what I'm saying is, if you really want to test the edges of reality. Like, there's no much more further really than you have to go. Psychedelics are rocket fuel for like raving perception that people have no idea about. It's like it's hallucinations you can't believe, but it's beyond hallucination, because even if it is a hallucination and my brain is projecting it out onto the world and I'm just dreaming while I'm awake, well, that's fucking profound enough, isn't it? Like, even if it is material, even if, yeah. So sorry, I kind of went off of your comment, Jack, when you were saying, is DMT activated through near-death experiences, and I said you can understand the world a lot through materialism, because if I fucking took an axe to your brain, you would likely have a mystical experience nearly eventually. It depends. Um, like, for example, I used to be a bin man, and I was debating the driver for the cab, and he was like a fundamentalist, scientist, reductionist, materialist, and he was saying that yeah, like near death experience. Actually, yeah, this is, I remember he said near death experiences is just like a dying brain that lacks oxygen. But that doesn't really tell you anything about anything, does it? No, no, it fucking doesn't. The truth is, the best way that reality could be, I'll tell you that this is my hang up. Either reality is kind of material, or maybe it's a bit spiritual, but look, it's like literally, it's basically wishful thinking. The truth is, yeah, I want reality, and I've been dreaming, and I've been wishful thinking that, like, wouldn't it be amazing if the truth about reality was literally infinite love? How, like, maybe it isn't, like, but what I'm saying is, what if everything that's ever happened, what if the universe is always conspiring in your favour? And this is a possibility. I may be sat on the fence of whether this is the case or not. I have faith that it is. I have doubt that it isn't, sometimes. But this is the truth. Who's to say that that the universe hasn't been conspiring in your favour, in the sense where it's all going to be used for the greatest good in the end? Perhaps maybe the pain and the depression of the past was for the contrast of the future. You can't know light without the dark, etc. Or what if the pain and the depression, or something potentially of the past, was to learn those lessons, and at the end of the day you're still here the whole time. Like, you might have lost things, but notice how you haven't died yet. And there's a big assumption with everyone you ever speak to that everyone does die, and I'm sure that this ego will die eventually, but what are the limits? And that's the main thing, is when I realise that maybe I'm dreaming, and then I contrast that with my dreams at night time, I realise that all of the limits are just being dreamed. Like, like last night I dreamed that I done a burglary with my with this dog, and then I left her in the house that we burgled by accident. But it was okay because I had a zoot, etc. And a few nights before, I had a dream that I went to prison for filming a UFO and uploading it to YouTube. And right now, I'm dreaming that I'm live streaming on YouTube. Or am I really live streaming on YouTube? Or is that just an idea in the mind, in the cognitive realm? Or it's just really me? And I am here, and my computer's here, and I am an ego inside a bag of skin, and I really ought to do something about things. Yeah, ignore Madeleine McCann, by the way, on my wall. I don't know why she's... And that's not her name. That's the fuck's sake. That's that girl in it. That's not what I meant. This is not supposed to be my wallpaper. I think Madeleine McCann's the one. Why that sounded horrible? I think because she's the one who I think she's the one who went missing. Now I'm just laughing about this. Let's just forget that. I don't remember her name. What's her fucking name? Madeline Monroe. Not fucking. Oh, who the fuck cares? But yeah, it's I only I don't know. I don't care about that wallpaper. I ain't got time for that. What the fuck was I on about? Let me read your comment. Sorry. In my opinion, there's no fully enlightened state of being because believing you are enlightened would translate to inflating your ego. I think that the experience of life is a constant cycle of awakening and reawakening without a fully enlightened state. Yeah, well, the way I see self-realization is basically like voluntary versus involuntary. So, supposedly, I am an ego inside a bag of skin, and I can choose to do this. But, like, do I choose to choose? It's basically, how do I know that I'm not actually doing the whole thing? Because when I dream at nighttime, I create the whole environment and other egos and selves and people, etc., within my mind. And the mind, even from a materialist paradigm, is my brain. So therefore, the whole environment is happening within my brain. So notice how, regardless if you are a materialist or a spiritualist or an idealist or whatever the fuck you might be, a nihilist, whatever, when you sleep at night and you have a dream, you can't deny that you basically just incarnate into, like, some fucking slippery, like, anything. Like, it's like, how does that happen? And some people will say, oh, it's chemicals in the brain, or like, you know, you're sorting through memories. But notice how this is all explanation that kind of doesn't actually, it's not actually like grounded in the direct sense perception. If you say DMT releasing a near-death experience is due to lack of oxygen in a dying brain, it's like, yeah, but the direct experience of that, just like if you take salvia or datura, or even mushrooms potentially sometimes, or DMT, there's no idea the idea that you took psychedelics is simply an idea, and it's true in some ways, but reality is basically an infinite paradox. But the main thing is, yeah, is the present moment. Here's the main thing, right? Regardless of everything I've ever said, this is the fucking center of the whole thing, yeah. Right now, get attuned to the present moment. Here we are. Welcome, welcome. Right. How the fuck is this happening? Why the fuck is this happening? How the fuck is this happening? Why are you here? What the fuck is happening? How the fuck do you just exist in this timeless fucking thing? And on different substances, there's different ways that you can feel this, how the fuck do I exist? And that is the fucking bottomless pit of the abyss, basically, is there's nothing you can do. Basically, you're here, and that means consciousness exists now, and what can happen once can happen again, and basically, you're eternally awake because you're awake now, therefore, you can use your intuition, and you can use psychedelics, and you can use spiritual techniques and breathwork, etc. Basically, become aware of what is. How do you feel about it? Did you ask for this? Are you creating it? Are you dreaming? Therefore, if you were dreaming, notice how if you dream at night time, even if the dream is in a material brain or whatever, if the dream is happening in a brain, doesn't that technically mean that the dream is your body? It's happening inside your body. So, can't you then technically, why can't you feel the world as your body? Well, I have, and you can on psychedelics. When you realize that there's no other, and all is self. Maybe pure awareness without belief in hierarchy of being more or less enlightened is the real enlightenment. Yeah, but there's something incredibly dissatisfying about like I do get it. I do get the oneness. I do get the bliss. Hierarchy is real, but from an absolute view, it's not real. Well, that's probably true. Yeah, you're probably right about that. Yeah, everything is just the present moment, and the present moment is perfectly complete because that probably is. That's got to be how it is, right? Surely, because how could it be any other way? In a way, because you're timeless awareness. So I get it. But there's also something incredibly dissatisfying. I feel in like in some ways. Like I think Frank Yang is not like I see Frank Yang and I'm like I don't know. I get it, but like basically it's like because like the Buddhists can speak of no mind, quiet in the mind, but like I'm on about like literally imagining entire worlds in an instant with the mind of God. And actually being at the fucking Godhead with all loose ends tied, and the true self is finally revealed. Oh, I done that on purpose. I created that world to incarnate to learn the lessons. Now I'm back at the Godhead. Now I'm going to incarnate into this world to learn these lessons. And what it is, I'll tell you what it is actually mainly. Especially because of I feel I take responsibility for it being my fault in a lot of ways, but say like I've been through a lot of like pain and depression, and like even if you do execute and actualize your life, there's a lot of suffering and kind of grafting in general. Don't you think that like everything dies and then fair enough, but it's like basically my hang up is speaking to the Most High. Please tell me that this is actually for and worth something, for fuck's sake. Don't you think? For fuck, like it's good, and I'm so grateful, and it's for itself to be fair. So I don't want to miss the point and not be in the present moment. But the present moment, like Eckhart Tolle explanation, like it is valid in a lot of ways, but it's also kind of dissatisfying. Like I don't want to be like, but it's like Alan Watts says, like if you can't find it in this moment, you will not find it. This moment is it? I actually don't think this moment is it. It is it technically, but I don't think. I think there's actually going to be like in terms of this story. It's like what? It's either I'm going to go through like for example like Ram Dass. I love Ram Dass. I listen to a lot of Ram Dass. But like there seems to be a lack of entertainment of the idea that maybe we could be some immortal in some form of like everyone assumes that we're all just humans on Earth and we're just gonna keep going through the cycle and like you're born and you eat and then eventually the body dies. Fair enough. Obviously that's how it goes. But like and I only say this because I am the consciousness. So like I'm all I know in a way. So like that makes me feel like because basically it's epistemology. Is the way this is something that I kind of come up with. Is this is how I say it? Is imagine if you was on your deathbed, and like your family was surrounding you, and you was gonna die soon, and they're counting down. Oh no, he's gonna die in 5 minutes. Oh, he's gonna die in 5 minutes. Oh, this is so tragic. And then beep, oh no, 3 seconds, 2, 1, flatline. Oh, he died, or whatever. Like the fucking flatline. My heart rate is stopped. But then I said I'm on my deathbed, or you're on your deathbed, or whatever. This is happening to you, right? And that your heart rate flatlines, but you're still awake. And then everyone looks at you, and they're like, haha, just kidding. You was dreaming the whole time, fool. You have infinite power. And now there's come around the corner. We got infinite weed and infinite fucking psychedelics. But the trade-off is there's no meaning anymore because we've removed all the limits. Because meaning can only exist by being deprived of desires and then being let loose and fulfilled with the desires. And it's the play of yin and yang. So it's like you can only like get a girlfriend and be like, yeah, I got a girlfriend, if you didn't have a girlfriend and wanted a girlfriend. Or if you just eaten 10 spaghetti bowls, yeah, the 11th spaghetti bowl is not very advertising, yeah. But if you'd eaten 0 spaghetti bowls and you'd been starving for ages, 11 spaghetti bowls is incredibly advertising. So what I'm saying is, you, as God, you put limits on yourself. You deprive yourself of, for example, when you get in a cold shower, basically you can be depressed, yeah, you could be miserable about your circumstances, and then you get a cold shower. Or for example, I went to the beach with my family and I was having a depressing episode in my mind. I was not very happy. I was in a mood, right? I was in a not very happy mood while we was at the beach. And it was a perfect day. And then I walked into the cold water. I walked into the ocean. And then I was fucking freezing cold. And as soon as I was freezing cold, I basically realized that I long to be where I was. And if I could only be where I was, I'd be happy. But when I was where I was miserable. So that's the gratitude predicament, and taking things for granted is you don't know what you have until it's gone. So that's what God is doing, basically. So the reason why things are cold and not perfect in a sense, or like the reason why you're poor, and the reason why you want to be famous but you ain't, or is basically, or the reason why, maybe someone who watching this, maybe you had a motorcycle accident when you was young, and now your arm is fucking paralysed, yeah? And you can say what you want, but to be fair, having a paralysed arm is pretty fucking shit. And this is getting to you your whole life, potentially. And you're like, bro, this paralysed arm is so fucking annoying. I wish I didn't have this fucking motorcycle accident. Now I look like a fucking retard all the time. Fuck's sake. God, why would you do this to me? You're such a cunt. This arm is in perpetual pain all the time, and I'm always on medication, and I've got to have bare surgeries. Fuck you, God, you're such a prick. Right, and then, after dealing with this for fucking 60 years, yeah, you die a normal death, and you go out peacefully, right? And then, God's like, aha, just kidding, you're infinitely powerful. And then, you can have your arm back. And then, you can feel so good about having your arm back, because notice how you don't give a fuck about your arms, but if you did go in a motorcycle crash and you had a fucked up arm, you'd feel fucked off about it, and you would long to have what you took for granted. That will happen when you lose your health. When you get ill, when you get a cold like what I have now, or any other illness, etc., you long to be where you was, but when you was where you was, you took it for granted. So, everything's an infinite paradox, and that's the truth. But yeah, that is the superist rant going. What do we think, people? I might disappear soon, to be honest. But yeah, sorry that my structure is maybe not great, because I'm rather sporadic in the way I speak. But I'm going to export this video and audio to my podcast, etc. So your guys' questions and things that I was reading will also be in the fucking video, mate. So make sure to get there. We feel incomplete, so the polarities seep through. Yeah, like, that's kind of like my pet theory, so to speak, is that there are limits in order to embrace the limitless, basically. And it's the yin and yang, really. And like, that's what it comes down to, is like, uh, it's like you can perceive things like these eternal truths, like the yin and yang, and then there's radical implications of that. Like, if you seem to become conscious that you are dreaming because there's no difference between awake and asleep because it's all just fundamentally consciousness, and then you're like, maybe I am dreaming. If I was dreaming, what would that entail? Therefore, limitless astral travel, potentially. Do I ever plan to make serious planned videos? Yeah, I mean, but it depends, because what do you mean by that? Like with editing or just with more structure? Because I know I just chat shit the way I do now. So yeah, I do. But honestly, right now, I don't know. Like, I just do it how I want to do it on a whim at the minute. Like, I know it's not the bestest, but I'm changing so much where, like, I'm not even in like a good state to be able to make, like, I can make a video, but like I'll evolve so quick that by the time I make it, I won't even be who filmed it. I will, but it's like, I also don't want to spend time fucking around with editing and things. Also because I'm like not incredibly yeah, more structure and clear direction. Yeah, you're right. I do got to do that. I know I can do it as well. Like, I know that I can take over social media. Like, I'm pretty confident if I like actually tried to soup up my content, I could do it. But I want to get more into art in a way. But like, I feel like life is just so massive that I'm kind of like up to my neck with it anyway. Which isn't really true. Like I could do more. I could work harder. I need to. I want to be successful in a lot of ways, especially on my YouTube and things. But yeah, I mean, I've been saying that from the get-go. Basically, though, is that is what you're saying. Will I ever make videos of more clear direction? Is from the beginning, I've been saying, oh, like I'm just doing these temporary videos on a whim. In the future, I'll upgrade my content and make it more structured and top quality. But for now, I'm just in a fucking predicament in my life. Therefore, the better content is coming later. But for now, I'm just gonna drop some notes every now and then when I have time because I'm in the midst of it. That's what I've been saying for about fucking 2 years. So I want to, but I actually, there's a lot of stuff I need to do in my life, and I'm rather I'm somewhat like unstable sometimes. And I think I have had mental illness in some form in the past, but it's not as black and white as that. Uh, but yeah, I appreciate you saying that. I appreciate your feedback, bro. It's cool the way you do it. It just feels like casual talk, but you could always try something new. Yeah, it is always just been casual talk. I feel like everything that I've done is like a preface for what I'm going to do. Like, I feel like this is not the main thing. It's kind of like how some artists have like how their older music is like shitter quality in a sense. But I feel maybe it will have some form of like nostalgia. I don't know. It's like, it's just the story. Like, all I want is kind of be devoted to the Most High in terms of I'm devoted to psychedelics. I'm devoted to the mystical. I'm devoted to what I've seen and my visions, etc. In a sense. So all I want to be like a mass awakening hub. I hope that my name and everything that I'm involved in on the internet, especially, really, because that's like where most of it is at the minute. Everything that I've done, you know, OXSN or OXSN doesn't really exist anywhere but on the internet. So It is really just an internet thing. But anyone who does find me, I hope that I can help in a sense. Like if anyone went through similar things to me, like psychedelic abuse and some forms of psychosis and awakening, I hope that they can resonate potentially with what I went through and then learn, and I hope I can provide insights to potentially be useful, because I've been in the deep end on psychedelics for a long time, etc. And I know the field, so yeah, I don't know. I just want to help spread love and light, and I want to create a heaven on earth, unity. I know that there's a more beautiful world our hearts know is possible, and I have faith that not only is the present moment everything, but it's like, that's another thing. It's like, yeah, sure, Alan Watts, the present moment is everything. Meditate, just turn off the mind, shut down the mind. But also, I kind of want New Earth. Like, I want like a vibrant, healthy world of love and peace and psychedelics and like the archaic revival, basically. So, like, you know. So that's the thing. It's like, that's kind of my hang up in a sense. Is if I'm gonna get abundantly everything I want for infinity, obviously I can create that in this life. There's no faith without works. Alright, look. An amazing tune to end this off, right? I've got to go. I'm gonna go now. I'm gonna this song is relevant. You don't have to stay, but everything that I've been talking about, this basically does it justice. So I'm gonna go. My name's OXSN, you know, OXSN. Get at that. And on the Rumble, OXSN. I got 2 accounts on fucking Rumble, mate. So make sure you fucking check them out. Obviously, I'm on Google Podcast, of course, mate. Make sure you get at the ting. I'm on fucking Spotify, mate. I'm on Spotify. Oh, you didn't see that? Did you see that? Damn. That's personal development. I'm the personal development YouTuber that never personal developed. I'm on fucking Twitter, I'm on everything, right, you get the gist, right, I'm out of here, gamers, fucking stuck between nothing's real and realistic, mess around in the 3rd dimension, but still a mystic. Alright, these are the gamers in the chat, this is who's joined us today. Thank you very much, everybody, for fucking sticking around, and we'll catch you in the next one, innit? Alright, listen to this tune. I love you.
If a garden is left untreated, unkept, it will fill with thorns and weeds. But if a gardener is vigilant, if he works hard, he may produce an orchard that gives great fruit.
There's no faith without works, it won't work without faith. When we put Jah first, you safe, it takes shape. There's no works without faith, no faith without works. Here to create Jah kingdom on earth. There's no faith without works, it won't work without faith. When we put Jah first, it'll work out great. There's no works without faith, no faith without works. If we don't work, what is our faith worth? Make me an instrument. On this instrumental, every instant help me listen, so I can be a vessel and engage in service, not just in the mental, but serve you practical, tangible. That's my ammo, put my faith in you. Now we making moves in unison, all is capable. I create with you. Faith is evidence for things hoped for, not seen. Work is what will bring such things from out of our dreams. Being and doing, we keep on accruing blessing in our heavenly storehouse from all these movements. If you don't work, you don't need. For wicked, there's no sleep. No lip service, don't speak. You'll find if you go seek. Not just occasionally, rise to the occasion faithfully. Do the work to immerse. Faith is not make-believe. Build your kingdom on earth. Make the most of what you gave to me. My works be the offering. Daily praises be. There's no faith without works. It won't work without faith. When we put Jah first, you safe. It takes shape. There's no works without faith. No faith without works. Here to create Jah kingdom on earth. There's no faith without works. It won't work without faith. When we put Jah first, it'll work out great. There's no works without faith. No faith without works. If we don't work, what is our faith work? Instead of talking all day, calling think tanks, you need to get up, get out and get something with your faith. Make a move. We all make a mistake. It's the actions you don't take which place a heavy weight. I'm not ready to wait. I'm getting straight to the field. Use my skills, soil, half a till. Builders, half a bill. Serve the needy, feed the hungry. Share your money, it's all from me. It's devotional. When you do your work, I'm thinking of them. How to be collective, pile and making honey.